Today I'm going to show you how to build the most useful shop accessory. In a previous video on dust collection, I thought that I provided more than enough information on how I built my current boom arm. But I was wrong. Really wrong. Now, you're possibly asking yourself why I consider this to be the most useful shop accessory that I have, but let me get my good friend James to help explain why.
A boom arm is the perfect addition to any small shop. It stows away easily until needed for hose and cable management. Hook it up to all of your smaller hand tools, even the blade guard of your table saw. It is ideal for vacuuming those hard-to-reach places and can be the perfect companion for a nice afternoon jaunt. Basically, it's badass. Just like my voice.
Since I'm a man of the people, I guess the only thing to do is rebuild my perfectly functioning boom arm for you. So get your pencil and paper ready to take notes, and let's build a straight piece of wood that we screw into the wall. Head on down to your local home center and grab a 3/4 inch sheet of plywood, or MDF if you hate your lungs. Then kindly ask the angry store associate to cut a 4 1/4 inch strip off the entire 8-foot length of the sheet. But before you leave, don't forget to grab 2 hinges. Any door hinges should do the trick. You will also need zip ties, I'm using 8 inch, an extension cord, and this universal shop vac hose extension kit. Okay, back in the shop, and now we're going to cut this board down the length to match the existing boom arm, which measures just over 63 1/4 inches. So I'll mark a line on that board, cut it over at the miter saw, and then we'll get moving along. Alright, now that we have this trimmed down to size, I'm going to cut out a very sophisticated hook for the hose. For orientation, this is the top of the board, this is the bottom of the board. Your key measurements here, I'm going to go in 7.5 inches for the inner part of the hook. For the outer part, measure in 1 inch from the end, strike another line. Then you're going to measure 3.5 inches down from the top of the board. And everything that I'm scribbling right now will be waste that we're going to cut out with the jigsaw. Forgot to mention this earlier, I'm going to take a little bit off of the top of the outside piece here, make it easier to take the hose off. This looks like about 3/4 inch. This is just an arbitrary measurement. Don't fall in love with anything here. And I'm going to cut that off. To take some of the weight out on the original boom arm, I randomly drilled a bunch of holes using a very dull 1 3/8 Forstner bit. If you want to use the same layout I am, measure 1 inch down from the top of the board. Then starting 1.5 inches in from the hook side, make a mark every 4 inches. This will be the center of your circles. For the bottom row, repeat the entire process, except your first hole will start 3.5 inches in instead of 1.5 inches. This will offset the holes and give the illusion that you kind of know what you're doing. But you can basically do whatever you want for a layout to help lighten this board up. Or do nothing at all because it will probably be fine anyways. Another completely optional step is adding an 1/8 inch round over to all of the edges. But I like to protect my soft, dainty hands. You've probably been wondering why I made you buy this big ass sheet of plywood. So next up, we're going to cut a 12-inch strip off the width of the remaining piece. Look at that. A boom arm helping build a boom arm. If you're feeling extra lazy, you could have also asked the angry man at Home Depot to cut this for you. Now cross-cut that strip to be 12 inches so you're left with a 12 by 12 square. And make sure you save the offcut. Okay, now we're going to take our 12 by 12 board and cut this in half diagonally. Alright, time to start assembling this. I'm going to take one of the triangles and attach it to the end of the boom arm. I'm using brad nails to hold it in place while the glue dries. Screws would of course work fine too. Hopefully you were paying attention and saved this offcut from earlier. I'll trace this triangle out on the offcut and then cut it out with a jigsaw. And just like on the other side, we're going to finish assembling this with glue and brad nails. Alright, I was about to attach this second triangle and then I realized, that's complete overkill and just going to add unnecessary weight. So on your end, just use the second triangle for this wedge piece, trim it down a little bit instead of the offcut. If you think about it, the screws for the hinge are going to be coming in this side, so all you really need is one piece to sink the screws into. Other than that, it's just a waste, like that piece. Win some, you lose some. I'm going to paint my boom arm black, but you can paint yours any color.
Anything that you want, you can build here. This is your world.
Before I take down the existing boom arm and install the new one, I want to show you the setup that I use for dust collection. On the side of my assembly table is an extractor, which is connected to a dust deputy, and then using the hose kit that we purchased earlier from Home Depot, rides up the boom arm and is connected to my Festool hose. Now, if you want to know the differences between a shop vac and an extractor and the benefits of using something like a cyclone separator, watch the video on dust collection. And if you don't want to spend the money on a Festool hose like this one, which is ridiculously expensive but nice to have, I would highly suggest looking at this universal kit that Rockler sells. Now, the nice thing about this kit is that it easily attaches to a bunch of different tools using all these different size ports that come with the system. To secure the hinges to the boom arm, I'm using these 1¼ deck-mate screws because I have a bunch and don't plan on building a deck anytime soon. Instead of worrying about screwing the hinge into a stud, I screwed an offcut of 3/4 inch plywood into a stud, and then I'll screw the hinges into the plywood. And all that's left to do is use your zip ties to attach the extension cord and hoses. And if you happen to still be watching the video, congrats! I meant to say 11-inch zip ties earlier instead of 8-inch. Sorry suckers who clicked away too soon. Alright friends, you're probably still wondering what to do with that big ass sheet of plywood. But I can't help you there. That's up to you and your new boom arm. Bye!